Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Harry Brailsford from SMB Nation, and we're coming to you today with a informative podcast. So hang on for just a second with that, but please take advantage of what we're communicating in the podcast. And if you have any questions at all, as a follow-up, feel free to email me directly, harryb@smbnation.com, and I can answer any of your questions, concerns, or interest in what opportunities exist. With that said, I'm with Derek Sardo today. So, Derek, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Where are you located, and what is your company name?
I'm in a wonderful town called Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and I'm calling from Rolling Thunder, which we just celebrated our 27th year in business.
So, oh my, that's a real business.
Well, in our industry, it's pretty rare to have longevity like that, so we're pretty proud of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of related to that, if you could briefly tell us what's your business model, forgive me, what niches maybe you serve, and what product stacks. I'd be curious to know, how do you make money?
So, again, being in business for 27 years, it's evolved. We started as a training company in the beginning, but of course, if you don't evolve, you're not going to be here for that long, especially the way things move in technology. So we started out in training. One of our most popular classes was how to build how to buy technology for small business, and in doing that, it was so popular. Everybody wanted to take that class. What to buy and what software do we use? So we evolved into that, and of course that brought into PC sales and networking and development and all these things. Where we are today and where we've been for the last 15 years is managed services. Really, that's the game. And of course, with managed services, in the last 10 years, I'd say it's all been cloud related. Office 365 is a big part of that. I would suggest that that's our lead-in for any of our business. So we gain potential clients based off our knowledge of the cloud, and that's the angle we generally lead with because it's such an easy sell, especially if clients are using older technologies, POP3s or IMAP email, local storage, these sorts of things. It's a very, very easy sell, and it's not expensive for the client to get in. There's no capital expenditures like there used to be. If I think back 10 years ago, that infrastructure was, okay, we need 1 or 2 servers for this small business. We need this software stack. We need, Exchange and SharePoint, and we need a phone system. And so we put all these things together, and, there was a considerable capital outlay. With cloud, we're able to just sort of turn those services on and grow as we need. So it's really impacted the business. It's impacted the business to the fact that my employee set, which was well over 30, is now half of what it used to be. But we do more with those 15 people than we ever have because we're not babysitting things like Exchange servers or SharePoint or Windows servers. All of those are taken care of for us in the cloud, and we don't have to worry about the maintenance and the upkeep and the updates and the security. All of those things are done for us.
Derek, you went by 2 points I want to zero in on. So one of my questions is always, what is your secret sauce? And I want to answer part of that, and it goes back to your earlier days where I'm assuming you had, it sounded like lunch and learns or workshops where the small business owners came in and asked, they went to an educational event about what to buy. And that's a time-tested strategy, the lunch and learn or the workshop or the reception at night. You have some content. Are you still doing that? Because I always love those stories.
So the answer to that is no, because it transitioned into a radio program that I ran for 12 years on local radio. So we had about I would say in our peak we were about 30,000 listeners every Wednesday, and I did that for 10 years, and then
That's amazing.
slowly weaned off of it, but it gathered a following, and that became sort of my training. It was a call-in show where businesses, and again, we're strictly business, but businesses would call in saying, I have this server, I have this problem, or I have, what do I pick for a phone system, and so that became, the evolution of what we had as training. And to be frank, back then you said lunch and learns. I didn't consider them lunch and learns. They were pay-for class. We used to charge $250 for a Wednesday night for somebody to come in and take this class, and it was full. We had waiting lists. So that transitioned out. We transitioned into radio. Getting back to your secret sauce, I think the secret sauce, I could probably sum it up in one word, and it's relevance. Okay. Relevance is the most important thing in an IT company. If you don't be relevant, if you don't stay current, you are going to be out of the game. So I think that's where we are, and that's why we've been around for so long.
Well, let's jump into the good stuff. I have another category of question called the challenge. And
the challenge.
I see in your we all have challenges. So let me ask you this. I see in your profile that you're a Microsoft advisor, and that means you'd be the partner of record for your customers prior to becoming a CSP with SureWeb. How was the Microsoft Advisor program for you? So help some of the listeners connect the dots between Advisor and then where you're at today with SureWeb.
So I like the Advisor program. I had no problem with the Advisor program. Of course, Microsoft has phased that out. And so let's go back. Let's go back to BPOS. You were around for BPOS, I'm sure?
Oh,
Business Productivity Online Suite?
I sure was.
So, well, for those that don't know, BPOS was the first stab at Office 365 from Microsoft. Yep. And basically what it was is a collection of, exactly like it is now, but in its infancy. So I started back then. And back then, I met with Microsoft. They said, this is the future. Advisory is the future. So, things like SD are going to than they have in past. Well, we've gone full cycle from that now. We've gone back to the days where DISTI is important, and partner advisory, that program has been shut down. So the transition, we needed to do something. Why did we need to do something? Because we weren't making any money anymore. So Microsoft just said, hey, you know what? We're going to cancel this advisory program. We're not going to pay you any more money. Well, that didn't sit well with us, but the good thing is we met SureWeb. And so SureWeb could offer us these everything we had in the advisor program, probably and more, but on our terms. So we were able to keep that same money stream coming in every month. One of the things we differ from a lot of our competitors is a lot of competitors want to have the billing cycle. They want to have that billing troll. They want that one invoice. Right. I don't want that, and we didn't want that. We made a conscious decision away from that. And the reason we made a conscious decision is because we didn't want to have that receivable. So we got out of that game where a lot, 5 of my team, all they did was pump out invoices and collect on them, and go into arrears, and you have to chase the client. We got out of that in the BPOS day by not having to worry about that. The billing relationship was with Microsoft. Now it's with SureWeb. It's one of the biggest things that SureWeb's offering us now, the ability to do it the way we want, but using the billing system through SureWeb.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point. So it sounds like you had a challenge that you wanted to confront. Any other specific roadblocks moving to the CSP program beyond your hope and desire for a better billing system?
So no other roadmaps. There were some challenges getting there, of course. One of the challenges we faced, because we have a ton of clients, and a lot of Office 365 partners don't have that many clients. They have 25 clients and they're 500 seats or 1,000 seats. Those ones are easy to move.
Yeah.
We had over 500 clients, so some of them are ones, some are twosies, some of them are threesies. So moving those over took a while. But we're over now, and everything's good. From a net new perspective, any client that comes on, there's no difference in onboarding that client with SureWeb. In fact, it's actually easier.
So let me see if I got this straight. So some of the solutions that helped you overcome the challenges. So we talked about bill on behalf. We've talked about automated client import. Is that a fair assessment, or importing the clients?
I really didn't discuss that, but that is the case. So the tool that SureWeb has for import is very nice. So what it basically does is you connect it to your partner account for your advisory. It goes into the Microsoft account. It pulls all of your partner information into the SureWeb tool. And so now you just have to comb through the SureWeb tool, look at the, just check it, and then import it in. So what happens is all those clients get created in the SureWeb portal, and all of the licenses and everything else transfers over. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Talk to me about the SureWeb portal in terms of the UI, your experience with it. I don't know if you want to give it a grade from A, B, C, but what's your experience with the SureWeb portal and running your CSP business?
So it's only getting better. It was okay to start, but the great thing about SureWeb is they're very nimble. They adapt to they adapt to a client like me saying, I want to see these things. This is really the reason I chose SureWeb. I mean, there's a lot of disty out there. I chose SureWeb on purpose for that reason, because I saw that they would be accommodating, and they have been. So when I say, I don't like this feature here, it should be modified this way, and we can't do that, they've been very receptive and made those changes for us. So from that perspective, I'm very happy with the portal. Now, the portal itself, the look and feel, very clean and very easy to understand. When we let our clients into the portal, so for instance, if they want the billing user so they can get in and change a credit card or whatever, none of my clients have had problems with that. They can look at it very easily, figure it out. There's some very main tabs: billing, administration, services. It's really quite simple. So yeah, we're happy with the portal.
No, that's.
And just recently, like 2 weeks ago, we added the ability for me to look into the Microsoft portal without going to the Microsoft portal. So now I'm in the SureWeb portal. I can actually look at the users. I can actually assign and change license assignments right straight from in the portal there.
Would it be fair to call that the oft-used phrase, sometimes quite frankly overused, but the single pane of glass? Is that what you felt being able to go through that portal?
Yes, and that's becoming better and better each day. It's a good term to use, single pane of glass.
Well, we're an industry of overused terms. Forget my hay fever. Let's move on, and then maybe I'll come back to a couple personal questions so we get to know you a little bit better. So results. So we've gone to the challenge, we've gone to the solution. Let's talk results. Are you seeing better customer satisfaction, or in the quantitative world, in polling we call it CSAT scores? Are you seeing more sales, increased revenue? Talk to us about the results of this motion. So
the incentives that Microsoft has placed on moving to CSP, because that's their model going forward. They want their client, they want us to move to the CSP model. So they've incented that model. And so for anybody right now that's a partner, for instance, you're not seeing any revenue from that. It is an absolute, and I mean this, and it's an absolute no-brainer to move over, because
Yeah.
you've got money sitting there. I was talking to Simon of SureWeb earlier, and he mentioned that there are 1.9 million customers still in the advisory program. That means that those partners are not recouping money. So again, no-brainer to go in there. So has the revenue gone up? Yes, it did, because of those incentives that were brought on by Microsoft to get us to there. And again, I talked earlier about the challenge of getting them from advisor to CSP. There were some challenges there.
Yeah.
But happy to say, once they're there, now I'm seeing a better turn stream monthly now.
Well, I want to key in on that about you reflected on the agility of SureWeb, and my experiences has been the same. I would frame it up a little bit differently. I have a different relationship with SureWeb, but what I would call it is they're hungry. And you don't always see that. You know, I go to conferences. I'm assuming you find your way to the occasional professional conference, and there are some old school, tired companies out there that that's not SureWeb. You know, my experience has been they're energetic. It would. Do you resemble my feelings?
Absolutely. Again, you know, I could pull up the names of the big disties. You know, yeah. I had a lot of clientele to move over. I chose SureWeb, and that's one of the reasons I chose SureWeb, is because they were hungry. And being hungry means that there's some accountability to me. I'm not a number. You know, I have a great sales team, and I have a great service team behind me at SureWeb. And so, you know, from that, it's a nice thing to know that I'm not a number. I'm a person, and when I call in, I get my quandaries fixed right away because somebody's taking care of it.
Yeah. Let's still kind of in the results area, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of different questions, but let's talk about future opportunities that you see possible now and in the very near future. Let me throw one out. Azure. So we have Office 365, and then there's other motions. What do you see on the product roadmap moving forward?
So again, that probably would be my next stage in the SureWeb evolution. We have a lot of clients that are in Azure now, and we'll be sourcing them through SureWeb. And SureWeb also has their Performance Cloud. So it's the basic tool stack from Azure, but based at SureWeb, and it's better performing, and it's actually less expensive for the client. So now I have two options. I can stay traditional with the Azure services from Microsoft, but I'm getting paid for it now, and which is important to me because I want that revenue stream. Or I can choose the Performance Cloud, which offers me better margin and offers the client a better product, actually. So I do see that. But I also see other tools that SureWeb's bringing along too. They've partnered with Acronis, and they've brought on their backup service. So again, talking about single pane of glass, I now can put my client through there, and I don't have to worry about billing. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff I would traditionally have to look at. You know, backup is traditionally based off how much the client's backing up. Well, I don't have to worry about the ever-changing invoice because that's just going to come directly from them. And I'm going to get a piece of that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And boy, howdy, I'll tell you, this last month, you and I are having a conversation in October of 2017, and down here in the U.S. in the last month, we've had hurricanes, we've had floods, we've had fires in California. It always seems to take that kind of event to bring backup to top of mind. So you know what I mean. It's sad but true.
it is, and that's you know, in Canada here, we don't see those hurricanes, and quite frankly, we don't see shootings, and that's another thing that we are proud of. But tragedy, unfortunately, brings those questions up. And what's my data, and how safe is it, and how secure is it? And backup is top of mind always when these events are occurring. And so the fact that I can actually just go into the same portal that I currently have for my Office 365 clients and just add backup service to them is a big thing.
So I'm going to take a turn, and I totally appreciate your time. It sounds like you're running a busy company up there.
Busy.
You know, so I really appreciate that. So part and parcel to that, just on a personal note, I see you were at McMaster's University, sir. That's a real college, and I'll tell you why I'm asking that.
That is a real college, and actually, this year McMaster was ranked, I believe, it was 66th in the world for. We've always been between 80 and 90 on that list. We jumped up to 66 this year, I believe. So yes, it's a small town. When I say small town, it's you know, Hamilton is a 500,000 people, so it's not too small. But we're right beside Toronto, so you know, 30 miles down the road we have Toronto. So we have a lot of population in this area. But McMaster University, yes, that's my alma mater, and you know, my office is literally, you know, a walking distance to the university. So great place. Go ahead.
It is, and what I'll tell you, the reason I ask is that part of the SMB Nation mission is we like to work with new entrants into the technology field, be they chronologically young or maybe someone who resembles myself coming from another industry making a career change. But I always like to give a shout out to education because it's one of the pillars. It's not the only leg of the stool, but it's one of the legs of the stool, and so I wanted to recognize that. And then the fact you were a training business, you know, only fortifies that. Couple more questions. I see on your LinkedIn profile that you kind of mentioned telephony. SMB Nation had an era where we went deep into telephony with Microsoft Response Point for a while, then the Cisco UC300 family. Are you still offering traditional telephony service functions?
Telephony. What is that? That doesn't exist. Come on, don't be silly. No. Okay, so I don't know if you remember 3Com NBX. You remember this system?
Yep. Yeah.
These were some kids out of MIT that created this system. It was so good that 3Com bought the product and turned it into 3Com NBX. We've been doing that. So how long ago was that? I'm going to guess I'm going to say it's almost 20 years. We've been in the communication game for that long. So we've gone through it all. Response Point, what a great product. What an absolutely great product. Why it disintegrated, I'll never know. Microsoft has a challenge with that. They have the greatest ideas, but don't follow through on them. Response Point is really Skype for Business, but 15 years ago, and so now I have it right, and so unified communications is no longer a term I use. Isn't that crazy? That sounds like a new term for a lot of people. I don't use that. I use intelligent communication, and
I love it.
You'll hear Microsoft say that as well, because it's not just talking. There's more to it than that. So it's integrated with your messaging, but now it's integrated with other things. The new Skype for Business will be called Microsoft Teams. I don't know if your clients have done it.
I heard that. Yeah.
Your listeners will know Microsoft Teams if they know Office 365. Well, that will be the end result for Skype for Business. So Skype for Business client, the actual client that we know, will be transitioned into Teams. What that does, though, is now that conversation isn't just a conversation. It's rich with content. It has SharePoint sites. It has plan sites. It has groups, and it's a wonderful product. It's going to be, and I'm excited about that. Normally, with a product it's not a nice thing, but this is a nice thing. It's a better choice because now everyone's going to be in this team portal, and so the intelligence of that is going to be the ability for cross-pollination between different companies, different branches to work together easily, to speak to video, to record, to share. Wonderful. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely, and I wrote down over on the side intelligent communications. I'm going to give you attribution for that, but that's a great term. You get a nickel every time I use it. Hey, Derek, we're almost out of time, so finally, first of all, why don't you what is your URL for listeners who might like to learn a little bit more about you? Where can they find you?
So, thunder.ca. It's very, very simple. Thunder.ca. And a little story there, the .ca back 27 years ago was very hard to get because a CA meant you were a corporate, a government entity.
Wow.
So we had to say that we were in multiple locations and we got the CA. So we secured that. So yeah, thunder.ca is our website. Anybody can visit there and hold of me at Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at thunder.ca.
Boy, that is a good story. Last point. You're quoted up on your LinkedIn profile. I love LinkedIn. It's amazing. And you're quoted as saying, technology has an exponential path in front of it, meaning it has the ability to propel science, medicine, business, social issues, and personal interactions in ways that are increasingly important to society and our own everyday lives. Boy, that's a big enchilada of philosophy.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, go ahead and we'll close on this, but go ahead and distill that down for the working man such as myself, and we'll call it good.
So the reason I wrote that is because I like what I do. I love technology. It's never stagnant. It's never stagnant. It's changing every single minute that we talk. There's something new. Tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll read the rags and I'll see, hey, this is coming out. Wow, that's exciting. And I'll look to how that applies to society. So things that I'm excited about for our, let's say, the next 10 years. I think the first thing I'm excited about is artificial intelligence. This is a buzzword and everybody's using it. But it really does have an impact on all of us. From the simple personal assistants like Siri and Cortana and Google to automation of factories and quality control, and it's just there's so many widespread impacts. The next thing I'm excited about is, well, we used to call it virtual reality. I don't call it that anymore. We call it augmented reality. So reality that's in front of us. It's the ability for me to say, okay, I want to put Outlook up on the wall there. I might be wearing some sort of glasses or something of that nature where I can actually see that, but I'm interacting in my world with these augmented things that are around me. So, although that sounds very Star Trek, it's here. It is here, and we're going to see that. And if you've ever had let's take a Microsoft HoloLens on. Have you tried that? I suggest that anybody that can put those on, try it, because it'll blow your mind. It's unbelievable. So yes, technology impacts us every single day, and it impacts, now this is going back to my business side, it impacts every single business. If you are not technologically with it, you will be out of business for sure. So guys like me and my team, we are there now to be the eyes and ears and the advisors and the confidants and the consultants for my clients. So it is a very exciting time because really, clients can't do it on their own. They need people like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to make that the final word. So Derek, thanks for joining us from up north, and I appreciate your time, and thanks for helping tell your story and the SureWeb story, and good luck to you, my friend. Stay in touch.
Take care.
Alrighty, thanks. We'll catch you next time. This is Harry Brailsford. Have a great day.